G'day, g'day. I'm Hayley from Creative Photo Folk, your go-to spot for all things creative photography. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to take something as simple as coloured card to create colourful constructions. Perfect for photographing at home. Now, you will need to get in quite close for this one, so our macro lens is ideal. I'm going to show you two variations of this technique, one using natural light and one using artificial light, so you can work with whatever you have available. What you'll need. For the natural light version, you'll need some sheets of coloured card. For the artificial light version, some plain white card works best, although printer paper can work too. But our two techniques both start out the same way, by preparing your paper or card. So take your paper or card and start to fold or roll these into shapes. Try to create your shapes carefully, as any little bends or inconsistencies will be apparent. Now, you'll want to combine these into interesting constructions. I wish I could give you more instructions on the best shapes to create, but trying different things is the fun part of this technique. Use whatever you have on hand to attach these together. You can use things like rubber bands, pegs, paper clips, staples, or tape. So for version 1, which is natural light, position your creations near a source of natural light, like a window, and start to photograph. Unfortunately, the weather was overcast for me, so I shot this outside on my patio for extra light. You may wish to put some card in the background in a contrasting colour to remove any distractions, while also adding an extra pop of colour. I just used a sturdy book to prop this up, and sometimes just the book itself. Set your macro lens to a wide aperture, and you'll want to focus right on the tips of the paper, which will send the rest of the background into blur. Now this week you get a composition lesson for free. When choosing the point of most focus, consider where you want the eye to go. So for example, in this image, the blue stands out the most, so my eye expects to see it in focus and is confused when it's not. In this image, nothing is in focus, so I find it really difficult to look at. Now, because the eye travels from left to right, in this image, it expects the pink to be in focus, but again is confused by it being the blue on the left. The eye also moves with patterns, and it expects to find an area to rest at the end of the pattern. So in this image, the eye first goes to the green, but then travels along the pattern and is confused when the pink isn't in focus. Is this making sense? So it's really important with this technique to consider where to put your focal point. And if you're not sure, just try several variations. My settings for the natural light setup were f3.5, 1/200th of a second, and ISO 100. So here's the final results. Now on to version 2, which is artificial light. For this technique, you'll ideally need a darkish room, so natural light won't affect your results. Your options for lighting include torches covered with coloured cellophane, gelled speed lights, Christmas lights, an iPad, or coloured light from your mobile phone. This technique is most effective when you have more than one colour. So if you can, I recommend using 2 or more light sources. I use Christmas lights and some small colour changing lights from a cheap shop that I found while digging through my box of light painting tools. As we'll be shooting from above looking down and light will be limited, a tripod is pretty much a necessity, so you'll want to create your setup low to the ground or even on the ground. If you have a low glass table, perfect. Otherwise, you'll need a sheet of glass, like from a picture frame, for example, and prop this up using something like books or drinking glasses. This will hold up our paper constructions. Place a sheet of white paper on this surface to act as a diffuser for your light source, and sit your paper constructions on top with the shape facing upwards. Ideally, you want the edges of the paper all to be on the same plane so that they stay in focus. Place your light source underneath a pane of glass, pointing up into the construction from below. If you're using a torch or similar, you can pop this into a vase or glass to hold it in position. I had my Christmas lights below the glass and my color changing lights on top, which I moved around to taste. At first, the blobs of light were too obvious, so I had to raise the glass up higher to put more distance between the shapes and the lights. Set up your tripod so your camera is pointing directly down at your paper. Make sure you flick off the image stabilization switch on your macro lens if it has one. Now, finding focus will be difficult as the camera will struggle to focus on the tiny paper edges. In my case, I had to manually focus all of my shots. Turn off your lights and begin to shoot. The settings I used were f2.8, 1/5 of a second, and ISO 500. Then you can just experiment with different arrangements of both the paper and colored lights. One thing I didn't try is holding my light higher to light the tips of the paper. That's something for next time. Here are some examples. You can also try laying the paper down on its side. In this case, the lights can either be to the side or behind. I was going to show you how to use gelled flash for this setup, but it was so similar to the book page project that I've already posted that I wanted to try something new. But if you wish to use flashes, I recommend checking out that project, which I'll link below. If you enjoy creating with your camera, then you may be interested in my course, Photo Fanatics, where I help you master photography, lighting, and editing creatively using fun projects just like these. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching and happy creating!